and you'll see it's quite common in various temples that the ladies will do abhishek. I was just in London for Radhastami. There was Vaishnavis doing abhishek, there was doing abhishek, so it's no problem. Obviously you have to be mindful of the interactions between men and women when doing things like that, because the fire battle will run kind of thing. There's no valid reason for it, philosophical, but there may be a valid managerial reason, and that's approach the conversation from that perspective, not like you're wrong, because it's not about being wrong. It's about trying to understand their perspective. Why is it that they made that decision? They obviously feel they have a valid reason, so try to understand what is that reason, and then if you can reason with them. It's good when you have like nice conversations and reason with people, understand their perspective, and understand your perspective, and hopefully come to an agreeable outcome. Don't go in there fighting. That doesn't work.
I mean, the objections raised, which I don't necessarily agree with them, but their objections raised were that, which again, it gets into kind of a deeper issue where if you let the opinions of the congregation, mostly means the Hindu congregation, if you let those opinions rule over the temple's governance and like how you do things like that. So that's one thing that the Hindu congregation don't like it when men and women are mixing in public, things like that.
Yeah, but so you have a clear.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what we did. We had the ladies come and bathe, and then we had the men come and bathe, and then we had the ladies come and bathe.
Clear separate. But the point is, it's like even that they may take the perspective of, but this is not Hindu culture.
Yeah.
But how much they follow the Hindu culture here in a place like America?
Right, not much
They're
at all.
taking up the local culture.
Yeah, it's being very strict with us and very lenient with.
Yeah, like their kids are all wearing jeans and t-shirts. That's not Hindu culture.
Yeah.
So it's a very convenient kind of philosophy, but it's not the reality of what's going on.
Yeah. And then the other was that, I guess traditional. This is what, again, not what I'm saying, but traditionally, the men would do like the public kind of things like the abhishek, because it also does require some level of physicality of like lifting these big pots, making sure you don't drop them, refilling them, running back to refill them, running back.
Yeah, men can do that.
Right. So the men traditionally have done, and then the ladies kissing and the
bathing,
arti, all that kind of stuff.
But the thing is also as we have discussed here, that some of these traditions going back into the past may not have been necessarily in keeping with Prabhupada's mood.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's, I think, because we're followers of ISKCON, because we're members of ISKCON, we're Prabhupada movers, let's try to understand what would be pleasing to Prabhupada in this environment. And of course, without asking him directly, it would be a little bit difficult to understand, but we can look at the precedents of how he did deal with his Vaishnavi disciples and how he would interact or the decisions he'd given different circumstances, and we get some idea of what Srila Prabhupada wanted us to do. And generally speaking, he would try to give the women opportunity. It's the same as the men. And sometimes the men would complain about, the women are, the men are becoming agitated. The women, you say, they should go live in the forest then. The men. So.
My main thing, I don't care if it's men or women personally, but my main thing is that those that come and prepare and like do the service of actually getting the abhishek ready, getting the festival ready, they get priority to do the festival.
I mean, that's
not that you just come and like,
that's a valid thing. That's quite valid. So if that's your policy, and then the ladies know the policy, they also come and help with the setup.
Yeah.
Why not?
Right.
I think that's perfectly valid, because it's like, what's the story of Chicken Little? She's making the bread, and she keeps asking all these people to help her to make the bread, make the bread, make the bread. No one wants to help. When the bread's baked, and they can smell it.
Yeah.
Oh, I want some of that bread. I should participate in the setup. Yeah. There's a managerial thing, and I tend to strictly avoid managing things, because otherwise, if I start getting into stuff like that, I won't get invited back.
Gets in trouble.
I want to keep coming to wonderful places like New York, offering service to all the last devotees here. Another question?
Maybe when we discuss something that would be more questions.
Yeah. Well, so anytime we have questions about the details that you
Yeah.
said, right? But nothing.
Yeah, and see, a lot of times these kind of service, with opportunities offered to men, opportunities offered to women, it generally tends to come from the perspective of how can I say this in a nice way? Often it comes from the perspective of one person hated the presence of another person, so they think, well, the best way is just that they're not here. So it is part of our conditioning that we respond like this. It's not the state of Krishna consciousness to respond like this, because in the state of Krishna consciousness, we're all eternal servants of God. We're not the body. But because we're embodied, we act in a particular way. It's the conditioning coming out. That's what it is. It's just the conditioning. We need to understand that. And therefore, we need to be tolerant. Men are dealing with women, they see the women respond to certain things in a particular way. We need to tolerate that. And the ladies dealing with the men, they see the men respond to certain situations in some ways. We need to tolerate that, because it's just a temporary material conditioning. And just try to become aware of how the conditioning affects us and affects others. And then when you see things like that happening, what can I do? It's not what I'd like to see, but what can I do? Because it's just part of being in the material world. And it's,
We have to accept.
Huh?
We have to accept.
Well, I think the main thing is just use these interactions as an impetus to become more and more Krishna conscious. Not just give up in resignation, but okay, let me become more determined in my Krishna consciousness. Because we're always men are going to have frustrating dealings with women, women are going to have frustrating dealings with men. It's just part of the dynamic of having a material body.
It's funny because when it's, for example, Nrsimha, so a lot of devotees coming to make service because it's a very auspicious day. And it's funny because, well, for me, every day has to be like Nrsimha.
Yeah.
And try to make our best service.
Yeah.
And so, right in the past, I make a lot of service, but now I realize that I was wrong. And now I'm relaxed about that, right? So,
Yeah.
and the people come and make service, so
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah, because like especially for someone who's doing service as a daily thing, I guess there's different kind of perspectives on it. One perspective is, well, I'm doing this every day, so I should have the right or the first choice. That's one perspective. But another perspective is, well, I'm getting to do this every day, so let me give someone else a chance. Especially those who don't get to come and do the service every day. Because you'll find that, especially with the congregation, people will take the day off from work and things like that to try to come and make some extra effort on that day. And I do feel it's really good if we can facilitate that. Step back, it's okay, because we get to do it every other day. And I think what I've found is in those situations where we don't push ourselves forward to be the one to get the mercy comes. Because we have an appropriate attitude in service. We're willing to, but you usually find those people who try to push themselves to the front to be the one, they don't get the mercy so much. And they might get like Malachi calls it blessings on demand. It's like everything's on demand in this day and age. So they're looking for that. I want the mercy. I want it right now. But it's not like that. It's all dependent on Krishna's will. So just if others come forward, give them a chance, and they'll be grateful. They'll be very grateful for it. I mean, festival is kind of for me. It's a little bit where I live. There's a bit of a interesting dynamic because all these devotees who are doing service, I used to be the head pujari there, and so I trained them all. They all know how to do abhisheks and stuff like that, but I never get invited to come and do the abhishek now.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, gosh, it's not like I'm just another pujari. I have a function to train pujaris. But they obviously have their reasons, and I just have to somehow accept that they have their position on it, and it's not really fits so well with what I think it should be. But, you just have to tolerate. That's what Krishna says to us, tolerate it without being disturbed. That's the thing, is tolerate it, but don't be disturbed. Oh, I'll put up with it, I don't like it. No, just tolerate it and don't be disturbed by it. Because you can't control other people. You can't control how the outcomes of those. Control yourself, control your thoughts. Just try to create a nice, nurturing environment for other devotees in service. And that way they'll grow as devotees. And because they're growing as devotees, you automatically grow, whether you're doing it or not. Just by facilitating others' service, you grow, you get benefit from that.
Another question about that, because I think, in my opinion, is in this temple traditional, just few devotees make all the service, just few pujaris. For example, the tradition was garlands every day.
Yeah.
So I like to make garlands. For me, it's very nice to make garlands for the Lord, but I think it's not practical.
Yeah.
And another matter is once the mercy to make the garlands. And so many times when Prabhuji knows a lot of fights between Mataji
Yeah.
because complaints so what do you recommend to change? Because I suggest so many times to Shobhamadi that make a schedule every day different
Yeah.
Mataji to come.
But
But she said no.
no, I just managed to talk with her about that, and she's ready to give it up, so I can start making a schedule.
Yeah,
But I'm gonna work with her to
I mean,
who's doing what.
see,
day.
Sometimes I can
the real
Yeah.
essence of it, I think this is like, if you look at some of these environments where you find there's only one person doing it all the time, it's about dependability. Sometimes what happens is when you start having rosters and stuff like that, oh, sorry, my child's got sick and I have to stay home and look at my child. And like, this is like 5 minutes before you're meant to put the garlands on the deities or something like that. So, you know what I mean? So this is like, you really have to be looking for that, because we want to be able to offer a particular standard of worship consistently. Because by that consistent standard of worship, Radha Govinda will become pleased with us. So sometimes when you have one person doing it, it's much easier to manage. Janani Asper told me, like, when it was just him and Pankajangri, it was really easy to manage the whole thing. But now there's a whole Pujari department, so it's just a headache.
Yeah.
And that's what it's like. So whoever does the service, it doesn't really matter, as long as they're reliable. So dependability is a really important thing. And if for some reason you can't do the service, you try to make arrangements to cover the service. And if the final thing you can't do that, then contact the head pujari, not 10 minutes before the arti or whatever. Give them due notice. So.
Right, but I tried in the past to. A lot of Matajis here in this temple wants to come and make service, making garland. But when I suggest to the head pujari, she wants to come and make garlands, she said, no, I don't know who is here, she's clean or whatever. So it's very difficult to.
But it's just like, again, you're dealing with natures of different people. Some natures are compatible, some natures are incompatible. And so you just have to, cultivating humility is very helpful in all these things. And it's just, sometimes you're going to get women fighting over stuff, and sometimes you get men fighting over stuff, and it's just like, that's just part of it. But if we can cultivate humility, it's like we're less inclined to fight over these things, because we realise it's all the temporary workings of the material world. It's not that. Whether that person makes it or this person makes it, as long as it looks nice on the deities and it's there on time, what's really the issue? But to work, Prabhupada wanted his disciples to work cooperatively. I saw some devotees in the temple yesterday. Your love for me would be shown on how much you cooperate. And so that means we work in a cooperative spirit. that the ultimate issue is we're serving Krishna. The ultimate outcome is to serve Krishna in a way that's harmonious. So, you know, whether you make the galas or someone else makes the galas, as long as the galas get made and we're not offending devotees, we're not upsetting anyone, then it's good.
Yeah, and another concern is when I come in to make the garlands and I have altar service, it's too much. So,
Yeah.
because sometimes garlands
Yeah.
takes 2-3 hours
Mm.
and then altar service. So I finish exhausted. So it's too much for me.
Yeah, so
And
I mean,
have
that's
kids
obviously
and I
something to
don't
work
get-
with Prabhu Mahan and try to get it so it's more.
That's very simple.
More sort of sustainable.
Yeah. Now, if we have two, like there's usually in Bhagavatam class 2-3 ladies a lot of days. You know, you just spread out huge blanket and they can make garlands while they're in class.
What's the cloth made of?
Not plastic.
What's it made of?
Cotton.
Yeah, but you put it on the floor, the cotton becomes contaminated. You
Yes,
see
yeah.
making garlands on the contaminated cloth.
Oh, immediately?
Yeah.
Oh, not like you make it and then you have to wash the cotton
Again,
after.
they
If you put
they-
cotton cloth on the floor, or
It's
silk cloth on the
contaminated.
floor, the cloth becomes contaminated.
So what is the way?
So
You
they
use
can do
tables,
the
you can
puja
put
all
and
the
they
tables.
listen to the class.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is, I didn't know.
We could put a table in the temple room.
Yeah,
Just
get
fold
one
it
of
up,
these-
put it
these
back.
folding tables and do it on a folding table. Yeah, not on the floor. Not with cotton cloth. I know they do it in lots of places, but the cotton becomes contaminated.
What if, what could you use that would stay clean?
Wool,
Wool.
and
Okay.
then put something over the top of the wool.
Big wool blanket. Oh, wool and then something.
Yeah, because the wool's got it sheds.
Yeah, yeah.
So first wool and
That's what I do, but I mean, better as tables.
Yeah.
cotton.
Do it on a table so nothing's touching the floor.
That's probably easier also. Yeah, so that way like all the ladies get to, I mean, it doesn't have to be ladies, it can be men, but
Men can make garlands too.
yeah, believe it or not,
Yeah,
it's,
of
it's a
course.
miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, there was a devotee in London, a male devotee, he was making very nice garlands with these. I
Yeah.
don't think he does it anymore, but you know, anyone can make garlands, anyone can dress, anyone can wear a shape.
Yeah.
As long as they have the appropriate qualification.
Yeah. Yeah, because it just doesn't make sense. Like, they're already, I mean, they don't have to do it during class, but that's quite convenient. You have an hour straight where you can hear and you can do something. Just,
Yeah,
you know.
but what I find in those environments is you don't really listen properly.
Mm.
But you know, I mean, if that's what they want to do,
Mm.
it's fine.
Because then, yeah, otherwise, like 3 people can do the job of 1 person, and it doesn't inconvenience them. Rather than you having to come for 3 hours and then do an RT and then wash it
It's
and then
too
go
much.
and then go home, take care of the kids, and then
It's too much.
yeah. So,
It's just a matter of practical management,
Yeah.
so that you're not overworked, and as many devotees as possible get the opportunity to serve the deities. In that way, they cultivate their attachment and their relationship with the deities. Quite important.
what's his name? Nityodita Prabhu. Nityodita Prabhu. He shared a really nice, yeah, he shared a really nice story about when he was in New Vrindavan and Radhanath Das Brahmachari was the pujari,
Yeah.
Radha Vrindavan Chandra, and he would come out every day into the temple room. I think it was during Bhagavatam class, and he had a little stick that was Radha Vrindavan Chandra's walking stick, and it was Nityodita Prabhu's service every day to decorate the walking stick,
Yeah.
during class so he didn't fall asleep, and it was like a meditation for him that he could, he'd put cloth and then put flowers and do all this kind of stuff. And he felt he had, that increased his connection with the deity so much more, that before he just saw some light and some, flowers and whatever, but then he actually started seeing, oh my God, they offered that same thing I made.
Yeah.
There's a deep connection.
Well, it's just,
for sure.
but for some devotees it's really nice because it helps them to feel connected.
Yeah.
So it's good to try and give the opportunity to as many devotees as possible.
But we can make maybe a WhatsApp group or something like that.
Yeah, that's always helpful.
Yeah.
WhatsApp group, the way to communicate.
Separate one just for garlands.
Yeah, just
Not on the, yeah, I know, right?
I want so many WhatsApp groups I can't
We
keep
have-
up.
we have millions.
In the Bhakti Center, they have that system. So
Yeah.
it's a WhatsApp
No, it would make
group.
sense.
And one matter
That's easy.
Manage, she's very nice and very kind, and she makes the schedule every week. So
Mhm.
it's very
Yeah, balanced.
exactly, and if one matter you can go one day, so they.
In the WhatsApp group, they communicate.
Yeah,
That's good.
exactly.
That's
So-
good. But yeah, having a schedule is quite helpful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like you kind of have to also appreciate the perspective of where things have come from and where they are now,
Oh my God.
and know that things are steadily improving. But be patient. Yeah, be patient. It takes time sometimes. You know, you get the chance to see the brother. That's pretty special.
And another concern that you always are talking about is about the cleanness, right, in the temple. And I don't know, I think it's a good idea maybe make a group in WhatsApp that every week different people or brahmanas or whatever come in and clean.
Well, I was saying to Braj, you know, even if you can't do it weekly or fortnightly, at least monthly, you should have a Maha clean up and just focus on one particular area. Not too big, don't be too ambitious. Just get that done. And you might even want to organise some sort of special prasad or something like devotees.
Pizza.
Just focus on it because you have to do it, and not just in the Deity department, the whole temple.
Yeah.
The whole temple. Because it is, you know, like you look here, like this is a brand new room, you know. There's already there's stuff on the floor. There's, you know, it's just not neat and tidy. I mean, you put the instruments over there and stuff, but it's people just walk in, use it, walk out, leave things where they are.
Yeah.
And you need to actually have systems. Okay, the madonna goes here, the harmonium goes here, the mats are stacked up there, the chairs should be there. You know?
Yeah. That's the temple, like individually, everyone really has to work a lot on the individual consciousness of cleanliness and
But
organization.
also you need to have, like, you know,
System.
in each space you have, okay, leave the room like this and this, you know, this goes here, stack all the mats up there, turn the lights off. And the lights were, you know, they were doing some dancing last night, they left the lights on. So you just need to educate, you know, if you want to use this room, this is the requirements. Sure, it's great space, but be clear on what you know, because otherwise it winds up just being another junk room. You know, like there's already a whole pile of clothes out there and stuff like that. Be clear. The same with service, you know. When you're making garlands, what's the service required? You know, how long the garland should be.
Yeah.
You know,
I was
what
thinking
quality
about
they
that.
should
We
be.
can make a chart with it.
I think in the Bhakti Center they have a paper
Yeah.
and said how
It-
long.
What's it? Brunch done.
Yeah.
They have like a flex, and it's actually got a picture, not like a photograph, but a picture sort of thing of the garlands, how fat they should be, how long they should be, and how long.
Like
they
a
should be.
real life size thing.
Yeah, life size thing, so they can just put the garland on and
That's
they can
cool.
see. So it's a very pictorial type of thing.
Yeah.
You know? Some places you go, you'll see like with the small deities, they'll have the measurement on the top of the box. So you know it straight away. And also how, you know, especially for the small deities, how fat the garland should be. Because if you make it like
Yeah.
a chrysanthemum or something like that, it's quite, you know, or dahlias, I mean, you make it out of dahlias and you've got these little deities and these big massive fat garlands,
Yeah.
it's not practical.
Yeah.
So, you know, just, you have to put systems in place to ensure predictability. Because if it's just like up to the person, then every time it's going to be different. So in order to ensure consistency in
Yeah.
service, you have to implement systems that facilitate that. Yeah. What next?
I have to run for an appointment. I'm already late for it, but I couldn't put myself away. If you have more questions, you can free to keep going. Otherwise, we could do a practicum.
Okay. What do you want to do?
If you have more questions, too.
Right now, no.
Well, I have a question on what you just said. Like, we try to make some systems
Yeah.
and organize, but then it's more difficult to implement it. It's because
Sometimes. Initially,
How do you
definitely.
make it
Initially,
happen?
yeah. Initially, it's definitely like that. But then after some time, because you know, it's a process of education, and after you educated, you know, everyone becomes educated, then it tends to be somewhat self-sustaining. But definitely in the beginning stage, it can be difficult. But you just have to be patient and persist with it, and it will get there. And that's what Roger's doing. He's trying to implement systems here to make things run smoothly. And, you know, I've spoken to him about it over the years, and it's frustrating for him sometimes because devotees don't listen.
Yeah.
Or they've got a different idea. But you just persist. Don't give up.
No, I didn't have any questions.
Anything else?
I'm sure more will come up.
You want to do some cleaning or?
I have to go, but
Kamala has a
Okay. Listen up.